everybody, welcome back to Hildy's Cafe. I'm Hildy. Today we're going to be making snowballs. They go by a couple of different names: Mexican wedding cookies, Russian tea cakes, but since it's Christmas time, holiday season, we will call them snowballs, and they are going to be gluten-free. My favorite flour, I will post the recipe down below. They're really easy, super fun this time of year. Kids of all ages love them. This is my favorite flour that I like to use. I hope it shows up right on the video, but what I see, it's backwards. Anyway, this King Arthur cup for cup, or it says measure for measure flour. It has all the xanthan gum and starches and everything that you need. So you can use this in any of your regular recipes that call for flour, your regular wheat flour. And so the recipe is quite easy. With gluten-free baking, it is important to have your ingredients like milk, eggs, cheeses, butters, all at room temperature. It just helps incorporate. Most of your cooking is based with rice flour, and that just takes a little bit more time to absorb. And if your ingredients are cold, it takes a little bit longer for the moisture to soak into the rice grains. It's not as absorbent as wheat flour is. So today we are going to start off with a half a cup of powdered sugar. This is one recipe that does not skimp on the powdered sugar. There's powdered sugar in it, around it. And so we start off with a half a cup. Oh, and if you want to double this recipe, please don't. Most of your gluten-free recipes do not do well doubled. So I'm not real sure why, but I have failed at every single one of these. So I'm going to be making these twice. You're going to see me just do it the one time. So we start with a half a cup of powdered sugar, and then the good stuff, a whole cup of unsalted butter. You could use margarine, but I was born and raised eating butter. Butter's butter. It's made from heavy cream. It's directly from the cow. It's not made from vegetable oil and preservatives and water and all these other unsavory things. And everything in moderation. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened there. I think we might have had a little bit of an earthquake. My camera decided just to take a tumble. Hold on a minute, folks. Oh, well, you can't see me, but you can see my mixer really well. Let's see if we can't change that a little bit. Oh my goodness. First catastrophic failure. My life, but that's okay. I think we're going to be all right. Yes. All right. So we got ourselves 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 cup of butter. To that, we will add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Who remembers these? The S&Ps, Tupperware, old school 70s. Yes, yes. I had inherited it from my mother. She was a Tupperware lady. So we add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then again, my favorite ingredient. Whoops, not yet. Vanilla is my favorite ingredient. So we have the butter, the confectioner sugar, and the salt. We're going to put our paddle attachment on. And then we're going to blend it. We'll go slow at first, or else powdered sugar will go everywhere. We don't need that. So we just combine it. The recipe says to mix well. I love this recipe book. I really don't know where I got it. It's 3 books in one. It's old-fashioned cookies, country casseroles, grilling, and more. and it's by Dedi Mum, M-U-M-M. I received it as a gift. Don't know where it came from. I don't even know if it's still in print, but I'll link this recipe down below. Alrighty. Now let me get my handy dandy spatula and we will scrape down the sides. Oops. Oh, I love this time of year. I love to bake. I love to be in the kitchen. You're going to hear me reference a lot about my mom. She passed away 7 years ago. Ovarian cancer is a silent killer amongst us women. But there is an early detection. The blood test that you should start receiving about age 35 or 40, the blood test is called a CA-125. It's a get your normal marker. And then every few years or so, when it's time for your girly checkup, have them do a CA-125 and see where the marker is. That is the cancer marker for ovarian cancer. I'm not real sure what the numbers are on it, the normal numbers. But also there is a self-home test that my mom's oncologist nurse taught her. It's called the Sister Mary Joseph bump. It is located in your navel, only in women. Take your index finger, and when you're doing your shower and your monthly, checking of your tatas and whatnot, just put your finger in your belly button. Feels like a normal belly button, great. But if you feel something called, that feels like a hernia or something, cancer doesn't hurt, so it won't hurt. But if you feel like a hernia, get yourself checked out. It's called the Sister Mary Joseph bump because it's named after the nun who discovered it. And my mom did go to the best hospital in the country, MD Anderson down in Houston, Texas. So I thank them very much for diagnosis to now, we had 22 months together, and I miss that woman dearly. And I think that's why I turned to baking. She loved baking. We come from a long line of bakers, and I feel closest to her here in the kitchen. Okay, well, we've got all of this. I know, ramble while things are going on. To this, we're going to add 2 1/4 cups of flour gradually. Now, the best way to measure out flour, I don't know if you learned this in home ec class. I don't even know if they still teach home ec class. I don't know. But you take your flour, get yourself a big spoon, and then you just fill your cup up like this. You don't want to pack your flour. You don't want to scoop it in because you want a nice, you don't want a super dense, heavy cookie. Nobody likes that. And then you just, take the edge of your spoon and do this. Scrape it off the top. All right, now, supposed to put in my favorite ingredient first, the vanilla. It calls for a teaspoon. Where did my teaspoon go? Here it is. Here's the teaspoon. So bloop, 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 teaspoon. And you know what? A little extra vanilla makes these cookies a lot better. There you go. So just about another half teaspoon more. Makes it really good. All right, now we'll blend this together. And then slowly add your flour. There's 1 cup. Let's put this back on here. Gluten-free flour is so expensive that when I measure it out like this, I do it over a plate. Whoops, because of that, in case I drop some flour, I'm not throwing it away. I can put it right back in the bag. All right, here is the second cup of flour. Slowly put it in. There we go. And then we get another quarter cup of flour. Even if it's this small, still spoon it in. Nobody wants a real heavy cookie unless it's a fudgy brownie, you know, real dense. Alrighty. Now the neat thing about paper plates, you just kind of fold it in half like this and just pour it back in. Sorry about that. Trash can is way over there. All right. Oh, this is so much fun. I am so glad you guys are in my kitchen, visiting the cafe. I hope you're having a good time. If you are, please hit that like and that subscribe button. Give me a comment on how I can do things better or whatnot. And to this dough, we are, let me push that aside so I can get my chopping board here. We are going to add a half a cup of pecans. So we just kind of slice them. Don't take your eye off the knife. You wind up getting a little finger in there and you're having to scrap the whole recipe away, and nobody wants to do that. It's always safety first. So you want, they don't have to be super fine, but you know, get most of the big chunks out. Yeah, these are going to be rolled into about a 1-inch ball. And I pre-chopped some of this so you guys who are sensitive to repetitive noise, you know, don't get tired of hearing a chop, 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 chop. All right, so now we have the half a cup of nuts. Let's poke some of that dough down in here. It does look like a crumbly dough. It is a little drier than most, like your chocolate chip cookie dough. But Snowballs, they are a light cookie. Depends on how big you make them, whether you can one bite them or not. My sister's kids sometimes have a competition when they were younger who can put the most in their mouth and chew. They're silly. I love them. I love those kids. You'll hear me talking a lot about them too. All right, now if you have a strong arm, you can go ahead and take a wooden spoon or any kind of spoon and stir the nuts in. But if you're like me and you're waiting on a rotator cuff surgery, you're going to want to just do it like this. Here you go. Get the nuts in a little bit faster. All right. And now that is done. We'll take the paddle off. Oh. All right. We'll get this all put away off to the side. And now the directions say to wrap this in plastic wrap, or just go ahead and you can just cover this with plastic wrap if you want, and refrigerate it for maybe about an hour or so. Just get everything nice and firmed up again. But I find that the dough is pretty workable, just the way it is. But I'm going to, for the sake of the recipe, I will refrigerate this, and I'll be back in an hour. Well, hi again. It's been about an hour. All my my dough is nice and chilled. Now it's time to roll them into little balls and then get them in the oven and get them baked. Now I'm not sure which is gonna work easier, but I kind of like these little scoopers. Just fill one up, pop it in your hand, roll it in a nice little ball. About yay big. Put it on your cookie sheet. Since there's no leavening agents in these, you don't have to, you don't have to space them super far apart. I think I'm just going to put 6 on this tray. And while we were waiting for the other dough to chill, I went ahead and made another batch. Just roll them out just like so. Have your oven preheated to 400 degrees. And these are going to bake about 8 to 10 minutes. You're not going to see a whole lot of color change. They might get a little bit darker in color, but not much. Just like their name says, snowballs. It's supposed to be kind of light in color. All right, our last one. Okay, and these are about 1 inch diameter. They're going to go into a 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. Whoops. Don't you hate it when you lose your balls? All right, we'll set the timer. Whoops, I don't want to do it that. Let's go for 9 minutes. That seems to do well for me. See you back here in 9. Hi, welcome back. It has been 9 minutes and these cookies are beautiful. Look at them. Whoops. There we go. Aren't those nice? Now I let them sit on the counter for about 1 minute just so they can firm up. If you try to handle them as soon as they come out of the oven, they will crumble on you. Now what you do after get them off of the cookie sheet is you take them and you just toss them in powdered sugar. I like using this big bowl. And you just dust them a little bit. Just get sugar all over the top of them. And when they're warm like this, the powdered sugar will kind of melt. And just keep it, you don't have to knock all the excess off. It's supposed to be kind of gooey. I put a little bit of parchment paper underneath my cooling rack just because, powdered sugar is going to get everywhere. And then you cool these for about 15 minutes or so. And then you put them back in the powdered sugar. Store in an airtight container. And they last good and fresh for about 3 or 4 days. The only downside about gluten-free baking is there's not a whole lot of preservatives that is in the flour that is in regular flour. So baked goods tend to be best eaten the day that they're made or the next day afterwards. The good thing about this dough though, before you cook it, you can freeze it for several months. Put it in a either a zip top bag or you can vacuum seal it. I prefer vacuum sealed just because it keeps all the air, keeps ice crystals from forming, and you stand a better chance of not getting that evil thing called freezer burn. It doesn't taste very good. So we're going to pretend that these have cooled off all the way, and we're going to toss them right back in here. These cookies are going to be a little wet because the powdered sugar is melting from the heat of the cookies. And then you just put some off and put some on here, and then this is where you just kind of lightly tap the excess off. Oh boy, I can't wait to dive into these. I think I caught a cold when the power went out, so my throat has been kind of scratchy all day. And one thing I forgot to mention, you know, when you make biscuits with regular flour cookies, you know, you're not supposed to manhandle the dough because, you know, that with regular flour, you know, that helps create the gluten and makes it stretchy or the dough stiff or whatnot. Plus, gluten-free baking is, the doughs are pretty forgiving. You can kind of knock the snot out of them and they'll still be okay. Sorry for that weird word. I just, you know, get nervous and don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. But these cookies smell amazing. I want to try one. Oh, look at this. Look at all that powdery goodness. Yum. Ah, let's eat. Mmm. Whoop. Mm. Mm. Best eaten when they're fully cooled because then they don't fall apart on you. My goodness, this is so good. Well, thanks for enduring with me. If you like this video, this is so good. Hit that like and subscribe button. Tell your friends about me, because you know, the more people that look at me and stuff, you know, I get sponsors, and maybe they'll send me to different gluten-free factories and whatnot, and you know, we can explore and do all sorts of fun things. You know, shenanigans tend to be my favorite. Oh gosh, that was so good. I might have to do it one more and leave you be. Y'all take care and have a good night. Smile. Be nice to each other. It's cold outside. Take care.